A fable is a fictional story, typically brief and with the purpose to impart a moral or ethical lesson, normally about human behavior or character. Examples include The Tortoise and the Hare, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, and the one we'll be talking about today, The Chicken Chaser. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Backlog Battle. I'm Tennessee, and for this video I wanted to play through something on the original Xbox. I picked one up a few years ago and haven't played through anything on it yet, so I figured this would be a perfect time to knock the dust off and give it a go. We're going to be playing it the way it was meant to be played in 2004. I'll be using the 13-inch Philips Magnavox CRT TV that, according to my kids, emits a really loud screeching noise. I can't hear it though, so. To capture the gameplay, I'll be running the signal through an RCA to HDMI converter and then into a capture card. The signal then gets converted back from HDMI to RCA and then into the TV. That way I can capture it while playing as well. Now I gotta be honest here. I have played through this title before. However, that was over 20 years ago, and the extent that I remember is good versus bad and running around kicking chickens. So for the most part, this will be like experiencing the game for the first time. While looking up the release date, I did come across the fact that there was an anniversary edition released in 2014, 10 years after the initial game, and I actually became pretty excited because I do remember loving the game and couldn't wait to play through it again with the enhanced graphics and additional content. But before doing that, I felt like I had to give the old one a go, because if I move forward, I might not go back to the older one. It did, however, give me the idea to do two playthroughs, the first focusing on a good character and the second one on an evil character. Now, I didn't go through the game trying to 100% it. I just wanted a casual playthrough prior to moving on to the newer one, which I plan to spend a lot more time with. If you'd rather watch the anniversary edition, that'll be out soon. With all that being said, let's do as we always do and hop into the manual before the game. Unfortunately, I own a physical copy of the disc, but I don't actually have the case or the manual that it came with. I just have a loose CD. So I had to look online for this one, and I couldn't actually look at it in real life. The manual is pretty short compared to some of the other ones we've had a look at, coming in at 18 pages. It refers to itself as a book of the guild and congratulates you because if you have the book, you must be one of the lucky few with enough potential to be invited to the guild as a hero apprentice. It tells you that after years of hard work, becoming a hero of renown means achieving great things, and that for the guild, greatness has no bearing with regard to perceived good or evil. It has more to do with the renown one achieves through the actions, regardless of the morality. Achieving this renown is done by accepting quests that the citizenry of Albion drop off at the guild in the form of quest cards. These are tasks deemed impossible for ordinary citizens, and many are thought not possible even for the mightiest of heroes. Aside from explaining how experience works, there really isn't too much else here that's particularly helpful that you can't just pick up within the game. Experience is broken down into 4 categories. Using melee weapons gains you experience in strength, while using bows gains you the experience in the skill, and using magical weapons gives you experience in will. General experience is received upon defeating an enemy in combat and comes in the form of orbs dropped on the ground that you must collect. You can do so by either running over them or holding right trigger to suck them into you. General experience can be used to upgrade abilities of any of the other categories. Aside from explaining augmenting, which is just slotting runes into a weapon, it just explains the guild areas, buying and selling, and how people will react to you differently depending upon your renown and your clothing. Well, with the manual out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the game.
Come on, wake up. Daydreaming again, were you? Just like your
The game starts off in a village called Oakville, a town in the world of Albion. Your father informs you that you need to get a gift for your sister's birthday, and offers to give you 1 gold piece per good deed that you do around the village. You take control of the character and walk around the village looking for people who need help. I first come across a little girl who lost her stuffed animal Rosie. It's a bear with a blue patch on its back, and she's upset because today is the day she's supposed to be changing its stuffing. Walking further into the village, I come across a lady looking for her no-good husband. She suspects he's laid up with another woman somewhere while she's stuck at home taking care of the kids.
I run his house, bring up his children, and what do I get in return? Nothing. If you find him, let me know, won't you?
After talking to the lady, I continue on in search of the bear or the husband, when I'm approached by a man who wants me to watch barrels and crates while he has to use the bathroom. He tells me all I have to do is stand there, and I agree to do so he heads off to relieve himself. While he's away, a boy approaches and tells me there could be stuff in the barrels and I should smash them while he's away. I ignore the kid, and then the man returns thanking me for the help. He says he'll speak with my father and let him know. For this, I see an icon pop up showing that I've done something good. Alternatively, when completing a bad action, you'll see a devil icon pop up. These icons have values associated with them and are tracked in your stats panel and reflect the overall alignment of your character. Your alignment will define your character's physical appearance and how people interact with you. Being good will eventually lead to a halo forming over you and your eyes turning blue, while evil actions lead to growing horns and glowing red eyes.
You could have smashed those barrels while you
After
were
watching
away.
the barrels, I speak with a kid who tried to convince me to smash them, and he ends up calling me a sissy. The game doesn't care if you do good or bad actions and just responds accordingly. The beginning area of Oakville does a pretty good job laying out the types of choices you'll be able to make throughout the game. I continue searching the area and end up finding my sister in a field next to a scarecrow. She tells me she's sorry if she woke me up last night, but she had a bad dream and she's waiting for her present since I forgot it last year. Since I still don't have a present, I keep looking around the village for other people to help. I come across someone yelling at a kid, calling him stupid and asking why he's playing with little baby toys and little girls. And when I speak with him, he's mad the kid was playing with his sister and her teddy bear. He's upset the kid won't give him the bear because he wants to rip its head off, and I then speak with the kid who asks for help. He says the guy goes around town beating up anyone smaller than him, but reckons since I'm big, I could be able to scare him off for good. I decide to help the smaller kid, and the game tells you how you can attack non-hostile characters by locking onto them with left trigger. I punch him a couple times, and he agrees to leave the kid alone. This results in me being awarded a good deed. The kid then thanks you and gives you Rosie, the teddy bear, to protect. It's the same teddy bear we were looking for, so I ended up giving it to the little girl who was searching for it and receive another good deed as well.
Does his family proud, that lad? He really keeps the spirit of Oakvale alive.
Walking around the town now, NPCs start commenting on how good of a kid I am. I end up finding a traveler who knows it's my sister's birthday and tells me he has a box of chocolates for 3 gold. I don't have the money yet, so I just keep looking for the woman's husband. I end up finding him behind one of the houses with another woman, and he tells me to keep my mouth shut because his wife is at home and he's supposed to be working. He says men are entitled to do what they like and offers to give me a gold piece to keep my mouth shut. I decline and immediately go snitch on him to his wife, which results in another good deed. Having completed enough good deeds now, I return to my father, and after paying me the gold pieces he promised, he directs me to the trader I'd met previously to get a gift.
Have you spoken to the trader?
I'm then taught how your map shows the location of the main objective you're currently on, so I'll proceed back to the trader and purchase the chocolates. Returning to your sister, you give her the chocolates, to which she says she knew that's what you'd end up getting her. She saw it in her dream. You two decide to return home because your mother will be back shortly. And then a cutscene happens to where bandits start attacking the town. She says you have to hide, so you end up jumping behind a fence and end up watching the bandits slaughter the townsfolk, including your family, from the cover of the woods.
Got one!
After the attack, you make your way back into the town, which is now set ablaze. You find your father laying dead on the streets and break into tears over his body. While mourning, a bandit appears out of nowhere and rushes towards you. Suddenly, in a bright flash, someone appears behind him, killing him instantly and teleporting you away from the place. The person is wearing robes and has magical markings all over their face. You wind up in a field vomiting from the travel. He tells you his name is Maze and he's the head of the Guild of Heroes. Entering into the guild, you are given to the guildmaster as a student and put in a room upstairs. You end up sharing the room with a girl named Whisper, who's not there at the moment, and the guildmaster tells you that your training will start the next day.
It's time to wake up.
The next day comes and you are awoken by Whisper, who tells you that you were having nightmares and talk in your sleep. She's been at the guild for almost a month, and it's pretty normal for nightmares to happen to new people during the first week. She says the guildmaster is waiting for you both in the map room and leads the way. Once you arrive in the map room, the guildmaster is absent. Whisper says he must have gotten tired of waiting and we should meet him at the training grounds across the river.
He's probably at the
From this
training
point
ground
on, your
across the
time in the
river.
guild just serves as a tutorial area. You enter training rings and learn the basic of the 3 different types of combat. You learn melee combat with a sword, blocking, rolling, and flourish, which is a special attack that can break through an enemy's block. Range combat is taught through target practice. You first shoot at stationary targets and then get scored shooting the dummies as they move. Further away targets award more points, and you're able to charge up the shot by holding down the shoot button. You do this in a free aim mode, making it easier to hit different targets than the lock-on mode. And then finally you're taught how to use your willpower, which is just a fancy way of saying magic. You shoot lightning at target dummies and then have to do it again, but this time they turn away from you, and you're only to hit the ones that are facing you. During your training, you pass through different phases of training, and your character ages as you progress. You start off in childhood, and then move on to your apprenticeship, and then finally adulthood. During one of the melee training sessions, you're training with Whisper and her brother Thunder shows up. The guildmaster has him watch you two spar, and I ended up defeating Whisper in the fight, and Thunder was disappointed in her, saying it was a shame she couldn't have seen him fight in the arena, and that if she ever wanted to get there herself one day, she needed to keep training. Before leaving, you're also sent on a quest. When the guild alarm rings, you have to kill beetles infesting the woods. This gets you familiar with the screens for accepting and completing quests and receiving their rewards. After moving into adulthood, you're faced with one final challenge before receiving your guild seal and becoming a hero. The guildmaster tells you to enter the guild woods and go to the log at the top of the hill. There the test will reveal itself to you. Upon entering the zone and proceeding to the top of the hill, you are greeted by Maze, who says to pass the final test, you have to defeat him using all that you've learned. You have to hit him several times with each of your weapons, sword, bow, and magic. After beating him, you then go back to the guild and attend the graduation ceremony at the Chamber of Fate. During the ceremony, you and Whisper approach the guildmaster who's standing on a platform with Thunder and Maze. You're told that today your apprenticeship ends, and you are to go out into the world to do great deeds that will either bring you gratitude of thousands or strike fear into their hearts. You are told that these are dark times, and your choices, whether they lead you down the path of good or evil, will change the face of the world. You're then given your guild seals and told to venture forth as heroes. Now back in the map room, the guildmaster explains that you are now free to leave, although you'll want to return regularly as the map table provides a way to take quests that the people of Albion need you to perform, and this is where you'll return to convert your experience into skills. He has you step on the experience spending platform and walks you through how to spend your experience to upgrade your abilities. I was pretty surprised that this entire process is actually voice acted and responds to what you select. The first option correlates to the 3 types of experience you receive: strength, skill, and will, and selecting one of those will lead to different stats or abilities. Strength is broken down into 3 choices which are typical of any melee warrior type class: physique, which affects your melee damage, health, which expands the length of your HP bar, and toughness, which provides damage resistance. The skill category also breaks down into 3 selections, but this time focuses on archery or a rogue type class. Accuracy increases your range damage, while speed increases the rate of fire for ranged weapons and dexterity for melee weapons, while guile allows you to be more stealthy and barter for better prices while trading. Will allows you to be a magic user of many types. Spells can be learned and upgraded from this menu. Spells are broken down into 3 categories: attack, surround, and physical. Attack spells are offensive type spells that focus on dealing damage such as fireball, inflame, multi-strike, lightning, and battle charge. Surround spells, on the other hand, allow you to manipulate the world around you. This category includes the spells Force Push, Turncoat, Slow Time, Drain Life, and Summon. Physical spells include Physical Shield, Berserk, Assassin Rush, Heal Life, Ghost Sword, and Multi-Arrow. The last category is Magic Power, that like health just increases the length of your mana energy bar. Some spells do have what's called an alignment modifier, and I actually neither in-game nor in the manual could find an explanation for this. From what I could gather online after having beat the game, is that there are 3 evil spells and 3 good spells, that can't be taken past level 4 unless you're around 33% good or evil on the alignment scale, and the further aligned you are, the less experience they end up costing. Now, I'm not sure if this is true or not, as the forum post I read was last updated 16 years ago, so please, if you know an accurate source for this, let me know down in the comments. Looking over the skills, I think a force push melee type build sounds pretty cool, so I go ahead and start to build into that by picking up force push. After picking your abilities, the guildmaster leads you to the door, telling you that he'll be able to communicate with you at all times via the guild sill, and gives you some supplies which include health and mana potions, as well as some food and resurrection vials that will revive you in place if you die. You are then directed to check the map table for quest cards by the guildmaster using the guild seal. Due to my renown being too low, the only quest I could take was one to clear wasp out of a picnic area. I accept the quest and head towards the quest marker, which leads me out of the guild. Shortly after leaving, you're approached by a frantic man who tells you wasps are attacking the picnic area. Following him results in you seeing wasps attacking people and buzzing around a slain man. I make my way around the area clearing out the wasp, and once they have all been defeated, a cutscene plays showing a large wasp queen appearing. During the fight with her, she keeps her distance and summons more of the smaller wasps that come into melee range and attack you. I end up taking most of the smaller ones out with my sword, while attacking the queen from a distance with lightning and arrows. This is mostly due to the fact that if you get too close, she'll do a large sweeping attack that can hit you in melee range. As you attack, you build up what is known as a combat multiplier. This indicates how much experience you gain when you inflict blows upon an enemy. The higher the number, the more experience points you gain when you absorb the experience orbs, left after defeating enemies. So it's actually beneficial to beat the enemies and then pick up the orbs when you have the higher multiplier. The multiplier doesn't just apply to general experience though, it also affects experience gained when using your strength, skill, or will attacks as well. The boss health bar is located on the right of the screen underneath the minimap, and upon defeating her, I receive her head as a trophy reward. You can equip the trophy and start a minigame to run around and show it to as many as people as possible within a time limit. This rewards you with renown based on how well you do. Once defeated, another cutscene plays showing people running back into the picnic area cheering you on, and then I'm notified I have a new quest card by the guildmaster. This ends up happening frequently, and is always your cue to go back to the guild to get you back on track. You don't have to walk back and forth each time though, as you can use your guild seal to teleport back to the Heroes Guild or to any of a number of Cullis gates that you unlock. I return to the guild and am unable to accept any of the quests due to my renown level still being too low. So I speak with the guildmaster standing next to the map table. He tells me Maze is waiting for me outside the Bowerstone Tavern. Talking to the guildmaster will always point you in the right direction on what to do next when it comes to the main storyline. Before leaving the guild, I go ahead and spend the experience I had gotten from the Wasp Queen to upgrade my health.
Health increases the amount of damage you can take.
I leave the guild, and even though I'm not sure where Bowerstone is, I'm able to find it by following the flashing yellow icon on the minimap. Crossing over a bridge and entering the gate leads you into a town. A guard stops me saying this is a peaceful town, and they'll be taking my weapons for now. Inside the town, there are shops, inns, games, and a tavern. He says to keep an eye open for Lady Grey because she's the mayor and needs to be treated with respect, and to enjoy my time while I'm there. I find Maze up a hill standing outside the town tavern. He asks me what I remember about the night Oakville was attacked, then goes on to tell me he had thought I was the only survivor, but there is a rumor that one more survived. My sister, although there's no way to be certain yet. Then he tells me to upgrade my basic gear and teleports away. I look around the town to find a vendor that sells weapons. I pick up a crossbow and an iron pickhammer before heading back to the guild. Once back, I check the map table and I'm given the option of accepting one of two quests. I can either attack a farm or protect it. The attack quest gives 1,000 as a money reward, and protecting it only gives 750. Even in Albion, the good guys are making less. I decide to protect the farm even though I'm going to make less from it, and am given the option to take the quest or to take the quest and boast. Boasting allows you to wager gold against completing challenges during a quest, such as doing the quest while wearing no armor or taking no damage. Completing it results in additional gold once it's completed. I thought this was a nice little addition, as it allows you to pick up a little extra gold while increasing the difficulty. You can also stand on the platform in front of an audience while doing it, so it follows the guild mantra of wanting to gain as much renown as possible. En route to Orchard Farm, I encounter Whisper, who says she'll be accepting the opposite side of the quest that I took. So while I try and protect the farm, she's going to be the one supporting the bandits that are trying to raid it. Arriving into the area, you end up talking to a farmer who found some stones and say they must be worth a fortune. He says he's lost 3 farmhands to bandit raids already, and he knows Lady Grey is wanting the stones. His wife won't let them anywhere near the house, so he's actually left them in a barn in crates. You then hear the bandits arrive, and he runs into the house to be with his wife. Here you have to fight off a few waves of bandits that approach and try to take the stones away from the area. After a while, Whisper shows up, and you have to defeat her using the flourish to break through her blocks. After defeating her, she tells you that your luck can't last forever and teleports away. The farmer then comes out and says someone will be around to pick up the stones, and he's glad to be getting rid of them. After completing that quest, I go ahead and teleport back to the guild and grab another level of health and toughness for the damage mitigation. The next quest that I accept is to escort some traders. I boast and choose to do the next one without armor also, as I still haven't upgraded. I head towards the next quest objective, and since I didn't have a Cullis gate close to the area, I end up having to travel on foot. The game is broken down into different zones that are open areas, which typically have enemies within them. Entering into a zone results in the enemies in the area respawning whether you've cleared them or not. So a lot of the time, if you're traveling and don't have a reason to fight, you can just ignore the enemies and run to the next area. On my way to the Trader's Quest, I come across a path that bandits have set up a toll for. Signs are placed saying there's a toll ahead, and I come to a bandit who's collecting the money. I talk to him and he wants me to pay 400 gold to continue down the path. I don't negotiate with bandits and decide not to pay the toll, so I continue to walk past the guard, who then becomes hostile, and I end up finding a whole camp of bandits. This was the funnest fight I've encountered to this point. I'd end up having 4 to 5 enemies attacking me, and I was able to keep them away with a force push while focusing on dealing damage to one at a time. After clearing out a large portion of the camp, I ended up fighting a larger leader who had a bunch of little guys around him. I used the same force push and melee method to take him out. I pick up a flame augmentation from a chest in the area before heading into the next zone and finding a demon door. Demon doors are large doors that are carved out of stone. When you approach, you can talk to them and they'll present you with a riddle or challenge that you must complete in order to gain access.
This is the deal.
This one wanted me to perform an act of great evil in its sight, and I'm not sure what's behind it, but since I'm doing a good playthrough, I decided just to skip it altogether. Continuing on, it doesn't take long before I come across another one that wants me to get a high combat multiplier. I do several attempts at trying to get it high enough for him to let me open, but due to the small amount of enemies within the zone, I'm not able to get it past 10 or 13, which apparently wasn't high enough. I did find bushes in the area that could be knocked down, which led down into an area called Hob Cave, where there were a lot of enemies, but due to the fact that there are little guys that throw magic at you and deal damage in an area of effect, I still wasn't able to get the multiplier high enough. I did descend down the cave as far as I could, and it led into a room with a giant rock in the middle surrounded by water, but there were no enemies or anything to do down there, so I just left. I do realize I could just look up how to enter all these doors, but like I've stated on my channel many times, I try not to look anything up while I'm playing a game, because I feel like it takes away from the experience. Continuing on to help the traders, I find them, and they want to be escorted to Barrow Fields, which is on the other side of a place called Darkwood. Darkwood is a twisted forest region that has exploding mushrooms and werewolf-type creatures called Balverines. The guildmaster comes on over your sill telling you that in this zone there is a place called the Chapel of Scorn. I never found it, but didn't really look for it either. While escorting the traders, you're taught about the follow and the wait action, which as it sounds like will have people either follow you or wait at their current location. This comes in handy as they can take damage and even be killed if you're not careful. I ended up having them wait while I fought most things in the area. During our trip, we came across a traveler who was bitten by something and asked us to help him. He wants to come with us, and while one trader wants to due to the fact that they swore a trader's oath, the other one disagrees and says he'll eat us soon enough. Ultimately, the decision is left up to the player, and I agree since he says he'll pay well, and if something happens, I can just take him out anyways. We then head on into the Darkwood Marshes and see a Balverine eating a corpse. These enemies pounce around and knock you over, and then they'll also jump up into the air and disappear for a while, and then land somewhere else. They aren't too hard, you just have to keep track of their location, and knocking them over with a flourish attack works pretty well. Then I come across yet another Demon Gate. He says he blocks the way to all but the most combat hardened. He says his guardians will test my mettle, to which I agree because it sounds like I'm just going to be fighting things. Well, it turns out doing this during the trader escort was probably not the best idea because they all end up dying. This was mostly due to the fact that my own force push was damaging them, because it deals damage to anything within an area, friendly or not. Failing or dying during a quest results in you having to reload. No matter how far you've progressed in that quest, it will take you back to the point right before starting it. This can be irritating as some quests can be quite long and having to restart in its entirety can be irritating. This time I let the wounded trader join again, but I don't attempt the demon door. I do, however, find a chest I missed the first time around, which had a resurrection vial in it. The amount you have is indicated by a number next to your health and mana bars. I take out the Balverine again and defend the traders through the first area. We then come across a field full of exploding mushrooms. I shoot them with the bow to set them off from a distance and lead the traders across the marsh. In the next area, we are attacked by a bunch of bandits and find a strange stone. When interacted with, it says something is stuck to the top of it. So I used my bow and arrow to shoot it and end up collecting my first silver key. We then make it back.
Wait. Follow.
Shall we go?
Wait. Follow. Wait.
Hey, I'm so hungry I can eat a person.
We then make it to a camp, which acts as a safe zone where vendors are located. The traders go back to full health, and honestly, escorting these guys is a real pain. Trying to get them to wait, you have to do individually, and you have to be facing directly at them or it won't register. So I find myself in combat trying to get them to stay while being attacked. Also, they only have about 4 lines of voice dialogue and just keep repeating the same thing over and over. The amount of times I heard them say, "I could do with a warm bath," was maddening. The vendors all sell different items, and I end up picking up some leather armor and gloves which have attractiveness and scariness stats on them. I'm assuming this just affects NPCs' reactions towards you. There's also items labeled dark armor, and they're more scary than ones called light armor. I also pick up an obsidian pickhammer which doubles my melee damage, and I used a fire augment on it which I had picked up earlier. So now it does more damage to enemies that take fire damage, and the augment gives the weapon a nice glowing effect, and different augments end up giving different effects. If there's more than one augment on it, it will cycle through the different effects. The last vendor that I talked to is a produce and potions vendor. I buy 4 health potions and a spade, which is used to dig up treasure. Funnily enough, there's a book about how bandits can blend in normal villages that he sells as well. And I didn't realize it in this playthrough, but when I played through on the Anniversary Edition, there's also a blackjack dealer here, and I spent way too much time playing blackjack. Me and the merchants then head on and find an ancient Cullis gate. The trader I had allowed to join the group starts talking about how he's about to turn. I try and have the other 2 traders stay so that I can get some distance between him and them, but they're so hard to target that I only get one of them to follow the command. The trader then turns into a Balverine, which you have to put down. We continue on and end up finding a big wood troll monster thing that throws rocks when you're at range and slams the ground when you get in close. I tried using all 3 combat methods to gain experience for each one, but found rolling in and attacking in melee to be the best method. Moving into the next zone has us arrive in Barrow Fields, and the merchants say they know the way from there. We unlock a fast travel point and go down a path to a bridge where someone is standing that says they've been expecting us. The quest is complete and rewards the Trader's Feather Trophy. I'm told Maze seeks an audience with me in Oakville Tavern by the Guildmaster. But before doing that, I head back to the guild and use the experience I've obtained. I level up Force Push to level 2 since I'm using it non-stop and that just increases its damage. I then bump all the other health skills up to level 3 and Speed in the skill tree for melee combat speed. I also grab Battle Charge, which lets me rush forward and knock back enemies. I figure it'll be good to close the distance after a Force Push so that I can get right back into my melee attacks. I then put my clothes back on because it's chilly in the guild and I don't want Whisper seeing me in my skivvies, and check the quest table for any more side quests. It has a hob killing contest at Orchard Farm, so I accept it and boast again. I take the boast Humble Whisper, which requires me to kill 10 more hobs than her. I fast travel back to Barrow Fields as I mistakenly thought the quest was near that zone and come across another demon door who wants me to be large in order to enter. He wants me to eat and get heavy. I just continue on as I don't have much food, and if you run out of potions, you can use food to heal yourself, so I kinda needed it. At this point, I realize everyone keeps referring to me as the Chicken Chaser, for whatever reason. It's what I've come to be known by, and I'm actually pretty famous for it. I then enter Oakville, and a cutscene plays, where a woman whistles at me. She remembers me from the bandit raid years ago. I have a vision of village burning, and it turns out it's the girl who wanted her teddy bear back to change its stuffing. She said her parents moved to Bowerstone the day after the raid, but she never really liked it there, so I'm assuming that's why she's back now in Oakville. I find Maze standing in the middle of town. He tells me he's not found anything else about my sister, though he has learned of a blind seeress who lives among Twinblade's bandit clan. Twinblade, once being a hero himself, grew tired of the guild and brought together a dozen bandit factions. Maze says he has always suspected Twinblade was behind the attack on Oakville, and this could be your chance for revenge. He says the camp can't be far from Oakville, as they are often under attack, and he's left a quest card in the guild for you. At this point, I realize I'm in the entire wrong area for the hob killing contest, so I'll make my way back to the farm and meet Whisper and a farmer. He says the orchard is overrun with hobs and whoever takes out the most gets the trophy. We make our way to the end of the farm and end up beating her with a score of 23-6. I focused on stealing anything she was hitting and using Force Push to knock her away. I did take evil points each time I did it, but I was receiving good points for beating the hobs, so it ended up just evening out. After finishing the quest, I find a treasure clue in a chest, and the guildmaster says there are 6 total throughout Albion. The one that I found was number 5. I head back to the guild, upgrade my health, toughness, and physique to level 4, then bump my speed up to 4 and my magic to 2. I check the quest table again for anything new, and there's one located at the Hob Cave, so I decide I'm going to do that before heading back to the bandit camp. I choose to boast again, and am actually disappointed this time because now it's giving away spoilers. The boasting option allows me to choose whether I want to sacrifice an innocent, kill the inhabitant of a cave, or protect the boy. So now before even starting it, I know I'm going into a cave, and will have the option to either kill whatever's in there, protect someone, or replace them with someone else. This was really the only point in the game where I felt it was giving story information away, and it turned me off from the boasting system, which I really enjoyed altogether. From this point on, I didn't boast at all. The quest description says, an old woman in Greatwood says her grandson is missing, and I feel like figuring out what happened without the additional information would have made it a much better quest. I end up not choosing anything, as I want to make the decision after I experience the situation for myself and head that way. First, I make my way to a place called Rose Cottage and speak with the grandmother who says her grandson, James, is missing, and she thinks he went back into the caves. She says he found something down there the last time he was there, and gives me a hexagon key. In the same zone as the cottage, I talk to a demon gate who says he'll only open the door for someone who loves him, and I'm not ready to commit to a relationship with a stone door, so I just leave him be.
I could only let someone who really loved me through.
I make my way back into the cave I found nothing in before, and the hobs are actually much harder this time around. I make my way down to the focus chamber, which is the room with the big rock in the center again. This time I see James surrounded by a magical barrier and met by a creepy fairy type thing. It says that if I want him, I'll have to provide an alternate person. Instead of doing that, I attack the fairy, who becomes hostile and summons a bunch of hobs. She can be difficult to target as she flies around in a little light ball, and then comes out of it long enough to throw something onto the ground that turns into vines and damages you. If you defeat all the Hobbs, she just spawns more, so it's best to lock onto her and take her out as quick as possible. After defeating her, you have to lead the boy out of the cave in the same follow and wait manner as the trader quest. All is well and good until you get to the entrance of the tunnel. Right after zoning in, I don't have enough time to tell him to wait and intercept the massive amount of Hobbs that are in the tunnel coming my way. They were pretty hard to keep off of him in such a confined area, and my strategy of force pushing everything away didn't work, as that dealt damage to him as well. He died several times here, which resulted in me having to reload all the way back to before having talked to the grandmother, which made me then have to descend into the cave, beat the fairy, and try to extract him again. Eventually I was able to get him to wait in time to intercept the Hobbs, and were able to make it out of the cave. We head back to his grandmother's house, but before arriving he stops me and says he doesn't want to go back. He says his grandmother is even worse than the nymph, so I guess it's not a fairy, and he'll be leaving the first chance he gets. We then speak with his grandmother, who thanks me and gives me a Hobbs head as a trophy. Why this lady was holding onto a Hobbs head, I don't know, but I think James might be onto something. I don't know how I feel about this quest. It was a classic rescue the person in danger, but in my opinion it didn't play out that well. You're sent into the cave to rescue the boy. While he's in the cage, he's screaming for you to help him. But then when he's safe, he's ungrateful and asks, why do you think he went into the cave in the first place? You can't have it both ways, kid. One thing that made the combat in there so difficult is when you use force push on a group of enemies, they all go flying back and get knocked down. While laying on the ground, you can't attack them and they're invulnerable until they get back up. So you end up having to time an attack to hit them just as they stand up again and are quickly swarmed again, which results in another force push. This isn't bad when you're facing one enemy, but against a group it just feels like you're cheesing your way through combat, waiting to get a hit off. There are times where enemies get stunned and you can do an execution on them, but that takes extra time, allowing the other enemies to get up again as well. I'm sure with a multitude of skills there are different ways to build the character to be more effective, but that seems to be the downfall of the build that I'm going, so I just have to deal with it. I did find it funny that after turning in the quest, you hear the granny screaming to James because he needs to do his chores. So the kid was really just trying to get out of chores and go play in a cave. Once again, having completed another quest, I go back to the guild, upgrade force push to level 4, as well as throw a level into health, toughness, and speed. There's no more side quests in the quest table, but instead of heading straight to the bandit camp, I wanted to head to Bowerstone first to look for some more gear. I arrive there at night and all the shops are closed. I enter into the tavern, and upstairs there are beds you can sleep in, which will turn night to day for a small fee. I pay the 35 gold and it turns into morning, and now all the shops are open. I end up purchasing some plate armor for a few of the slots and end up looking through the menus a bit. I see a statistics page which will give you the details on basically everything you do in the game, from the amount of monsters you've beaten to the number of buildings you own and rent gained. This is where you can look at your alignment and experience stats as well. After gearing up, I start the quest, which takes me back to Oakville, back where Maze had told me about the camp in the first place. Along the beach, there's a cave that leads to a seaside path. Next to the entrance, I find a chest that has some assassin boots in it. The stats aren't great, and they aren't for my build, but the description says they are padded boots for silent movement. Entering into the cave starts the quest. You have to sneak past 3 bandits to make your way into the camp. If any of them see you, they close the gate and you have to hide for a bit before they send out new bandit guards and you try again. Okay, full disclosure here. I cannot freaking stand sneaking in video games. I hate it, I have never liked it, and I will never like it. I'm the absolute least sneaky person on the planet. I accept that, and I wish games would too. This is the only part of the game in which you have to sneak. And as annoying as listening to the traitors repeat themselves over and over, I would take that 1,000,000 times over instead of doing this quest. I'm sure it's not bad for most people, but in my opinion, this is the single worst part of the game. To make it even worse, every time you get caught, you have to fight 3 bandits and stand around for a while a timer goes by, and then listen to this cutscene.
Where the hell's the guards? Get more men out there!
Where the hell's the guards? Where the hell's alternate pathway? In a game all about making choices, getting pigeonholed into this one way to enter the camp is ridiculous. But finally, after taking a break and coming back, I sneak past the bandits and make my way into the camp. Except this isn't the camp. It's just the pathway that leads to the camp. You come upon 2 bandits talking about how someone lost their cap and couldn't get in for over a week. so you need to be in full bandit gear to get into the camp. Luckily, all the bandit gear is conveniently located in chests along this path. So you just fight your way down the path, opening chests, and by the time you make it to the end, you have a full set of bandit gear. Before actually entering the camp, there is another demon door that wants you to wear 3 different outfits. He wants to see a knight, a mage, and a rogue before opening. I don't have all of these, so I just enter on into the camp after equipping the bandit armor. There's a guard who tells you that once you're into the camp, you're allowed in for good and you can change once you're inside. They open the gate and let me in, and I put my normal armor back on. Inside, I find a mercenary for hire. I end up picking him up as I figure I'll have to fight quite a few people while I'm here, and then keep looking around. I find another man who can give me a camp pass for 1,000 gold, and I don't really know what it's for, but I figure it'll come in handy, so I go ahead and pay him. I head upstairs, and there's a closed gate to where a guard checks to make sure you have a pass, so it didn't take long to come in handy. After checking my pass, he allowed me to enter in a Twin Blades elite camp. Looking around this area, I come across 2 women who are trapped in a cage. I try to let them out, but it says I need a key. Talking to the guard in front of the next gate, I learn he's not letting anyone in unless they're part of the entertainment. So I go back to the women in the cages, and since it's a secluded area, attack the guard that's patrolling back and forth. He drops a key, which I then use to open their cage. And after they're free, a cutscene plays saying that they are escaping and the gate opens so that the bandits can run after them. Going through the next gate starts a cutscene where you're walking through a line of cheering bandits. That's when you meet Twin Blade, who tells you his blades have been dying to meet you. They haven't been fed for days. Then you start to fight.
My blades have been dying to meet you. They haven't been fed for days.
The layout of the fight I thought was pretty cool. The 2 of you are surrounded by bandits, and if you get too close to the edge, they attack you and push you back into the ring. Twin Blade does a couple of sweeping attacks which aren't too hard to dodge, and then he shoves his blades into the ground with an overhead attack. It takes him a few seconds to pull them out, which is your opportunity to get behind him and attack his back, which is exposed. After hitting him a few times, he falls to the ground telling you to finish it quickly. Just as you raise your weapon to strike, the Cirrus interrupts, saying, "What's wrong? You don't recognize your own sister?" You then get to hear what's happened to Teresa since the bandit attack on Oakvale. The leader of the attack sliced her eyes out because she wouldn't tell where her brother was. The bandits then took the mother and left Teresa to die in the forest. She was found by Twin Blade and became his right-hand man due to the fact that she has the ability to tell prophetic truths in her sleep. She's been with him ever since. She tells you she's seen you in a ring of sand and blood, and the choice you'll have to make one day between the darkness and the light. She tells Twin Blade their paths are now their own, and imparts you with a gift that runs in your family before leaving. Honestly, I don't know what this gift is. I think it's just experience points because no magical powers or anything unlock, and the aura that surrounds you when she does it looks similar to the experience orbs that you collect. If anyone knows what is actually getting transferred here, please let me know. You're then given the choice whether to finish off Twin Blade or let him live. I decided to take him out. Despite the fact that he helped your sister, he still attacked me and is literally the leader of a bandit camp. This results in having to fight him again. His health bar isn't fully recovered though, and all the other bandits attack you as well. I use force push to keep the smaller bandits off me, while I focus on Twin Blade, and by the time he's done, most of them are too. Before starting the next quest, you guessed it, I head back to the guild and increase health up to level 6, increase my speed again, and end up picking up a spell that's called Multi-Strike. I want something that's going to replace Lightning Strike, as it was giving at the beginning of the game and I haven't upgraded it yet at all. Multi-Strike imbues your blade with the ability to hit multiple times in a row with just a single blow. Honestly, it ends up becoming my favorite skill and winds up dealing massive damage as you upgrade it. I start focusing on slower weapons that have a high damage value, and using that with Multi-Strike allows you to put out insane single target damage. I find Maze in his room, who says he left me a quest card. He says his friend the archaeologist may have discovered something that put him in danger. He says he may be hiding in Witchwood if he's not dead already. Picking up the quest, I find he's protected by a magical door. I make my way to Witchwood and find the door. It's a typical demon door that says you can only enter if you know its name. Nearby there are 4 stones that you can interact with. Interacting with them shows you what letter is associated with them. I, H, T, and S are the letters. In order to open the door, you have to spell out the door's name. With a limited number of letters available, and what they are, if you put a bad word in, 2 Balverines show up and attack you. It's a pretty funny little Easter egg from the developers. Once you hit the stones to spell out the word hits, you're able to enter the cave and find the archaeologist. He's not exactly pleased to see you. He says if you can find them, then so can other people, and leaves, but not before giving you his journal. The guildmaster says now that they know where he is, they should be able to keep him safe, and tells me to return for another quest card. I return and level up my magic to 3, and then take a quest card to protect Knothole Glade against a white Balverine. Arriving at Knothole Glade, I come upon a town being attacked by Balverines. I clear out a few of them, and they open the gate to let me in. Walking in, a man tells you that a white Balverine has been coming into the town and killing whoever he likes. It then shows up, and you have to hit it a few times before it goes away. He tells you there used to be a hunter in town who died fighting them, and if anyone were to know how to hurt it, it'd be his wife up the hill. You go talk to her and get attacked again. After scaring the Balverine away for a second time, he tells you it was her husband who turned into the beast after getting bit fighting the last white Balverine. She gives you a silver augment to be able to deal damage to it. You then are told to go to the lake and have to fight it. During the fight, it summons other Balverines, but with the multi-strike and knockback, they didn't pose much of a challenge. After defeating it, I head back to the guy who told me about it in the first place. He says a hero of my stature should be fighting in Witchwood Arena, and that my nomination should be waiting back at the guild. He also says while you were gone, the guild dropped off a message from your sister and gives you a note as well as a book called The Bloodline. Reading her letter, she informs you that she found proof that you two are special. The book tells of a bloodline from the Old Kingdom and its connection to a sword powerful enough to rule the world. The book says they're descendants of someone named Archon, who wielded the Sword of Aeons, or perhaps they were descendants of the makers of the sword, or those who managed to extinguish its power. It's not known, but the author thinks if they can identify someone from the bloodline, then they'd be able to find the sword and perhaps restore the days of the Old Kingdom. They narrowed it down to a woman who now lives a quiet life and has passed the powers down to her children, a son and a daughter. After learning all this, I'm directed to check the guild for more quests. I do the typical return, level up, grab a new quest. I increase my multi-strike to level 2 and pick up the quest to compete in the arena. Before heading that way, I want to see about buying a house though. So I'll head to Bowerstone, do some shopping for potions, and find a house for sale. I have enough gold so I'm able to buy it by interacting with a sign outside. After purchasing, a new sign pops up which allows you to upgrade the interior. I go ahead and upgrade it 3 times to its max level, and each time the furnishings improve. I'm also able to rent it out, and now when I return there is gold in front of the sign which I can pick up. I'm not sure if this is an effective way of making gold, as the return on investment seems like it would take way longer than the length of the game to actually come out in the positive. Luckily though, if you're short on funds, it seems you can sell the house for as much as you have invested in it. Sometimes when it was night, to avoid paying a tavern fee, I would take control of the house, sleep, and then re-rent it out right after. The tenants probably hated me, making them move out for a single night stay, but I'm sure they're fine. After having a house, I figured it was time to get a wife. NPCs can fall in love with you, which is indicated by a heart icon over their head. I found a woman, gave her some gifts, and then picked up a wedding ring and gave it to her as well. Surprisingly, it actually plays a cutscene for when you get married. She stayed at the house, and whenever I would return, she would give me items, which was nice for a while. Then she just started giving me junk and complaining when I didn't take out the trash. It didn't take too much of the married life before my character had nothing left to live for and made his way to the arena to fight to the death. So now I'm back in Witchwood to enter the arena. Upon entering, you're guided to a preparation area by a guard who walks you through an area called the Hall of Heroes. He says it's the arena's first heroes, but no one really cares about history anymore. They just want to see the heroes of today. In the preparation area, you're told the rules of the arena. You fight creatures in rounds, and the goal is to stay in as long as possible. In between rounds, you can choose to exit and collect the gold that you've earned, or keep going and earn more. Whoever gets through every round alive will be awarded an arena bonus prize given by Jack of Blades himself. After the explanation, I speak with Roth, the man who is explaining the rules, and he says if you please the crowd, they will throw items into the arena, and the only people to have ever beaten the arena without taking a break are Thunder and the Jack of Blades. After the current contestant dies, it's now your turn. Firstly, you have to face off against a bunch of wasps. There are multiple waves, but the fact that I was using a giant hammer played out well because the large sweeping attacks took multiple wasps in one swing. Moving into the second round, you have to face a bunch of pobs. These aren't too bad, but the ones with the stabs that attack from range hit me every once in a while. Using force push though, I was able to keep from getting grouped up on and was able to take them out. Next, they introduce Whisper as a contestant, and she plays as your partner for the rest of the arena. You both have to take down Balverines, and on the final wave there are 2 white ones. Honestly, she's mostly useless aside from taking aggro on 1 or 2 enemies. Next, they have you fight Undead, which this is the first time in the game that I've seen this enemy type. In the introduction, they talk about how if you've been to Litchfield Graveyard lately, you would have seen them, but I haven't been to that zone yet, so I haven't. The next round, you have to fight 2 Earth Trolls, Ingrid and Bertha. I'm able to pump out a lot of damage by hitting a few times with my normal attack, and then using multi-strike combined with the flourish. Whenever they are both up, the one you're not attacking is constantly throwing rocks, which knocks you down and can be a real pain, but after taking one out, the other is pretty easy to beat solo. After the Earth Trolls, you fight 2 more, but this time they're Rock Trolls, and their names Staneth and Groin. These 2 are a little bit harder than the Earth Trolls, but follow the same basic mechanics. They just happen to throw multiple rocks in a horizontal line followed by a singular rock. I did notice that I was able to knock one of the rocks back at them, but it was too hard, and honestly I just stuck with the roll-in, roll-out method, adding in battle charges to close the distance when I needed to. Whisper, though, was completely useless during this time. I don't know if she bugged out or what, but she just stood there like she was taking all the glory and didn't attack the trolls on either of the fights. After beating the trolls and agreeing to continue, the arena goes dark and you end up facing a giant scorpion. It charges you and immediately follows that up with a swipe, so it was hard to do any reliable damage. It also would submerge into the ground and summon small scorpion groups after taking a certain amount of damage. It did this twice, spawning 1 wave the first time and 2 groups the second time. The best time I found to do damage was when it would charge up and strike the ground with its tail. This made it stay stationary for a bit while something emerged from the ground. Once defeated, Jack of Blades is shown. He says he wants you and Whisper to fight to the death and the winner will receive a surprise. She says she can't kill you and that you're both there to just put on a good show. I fight her and she's got to be about the easiest enemy in the entire game. She just jumps around and charges and then jumps into the air and lands and throws bombs at you. After winning the fight, you have the choice to leave the arena or to kill her. I go ahead and leave because it probably wouldn't go well with the whole good guy thing. After I exit the arena, Lady Grey and Thunder are there talking. She tells him to stop talking and that his time of glory is long gone. She invites me to come talk to her at Bowerstone North Manor. Once she leaves, Thunder says my blood will spill soon, which I don't really understand. You think he'd be happy because I didn't just kill his sister, but apparently he could care less. You're then led back through the Hall of Heroes, and the guard guiding you tells you that you remind him of a hero called the Scarlet Robe, who had fought in the arena. You approach the statue and realize it's your mother. It then goes on to show a cinematic to where she was a great fighter and was the first female to have won the arena. She ended up being attacked by 12 Balverines in the forest, and although she ended up killing them, she fell down gravely wounded. She was found by a man named Bronn, who brought her back to health, and she fell in love with him, gave up the hero life, and then bore 2 children. Jack of Blades then comes out of the shadows like a creepy weirdo and tells you that you should bring your sister to come see him. He would love to reignite you and her with your mother because she's still alive. He then gives you the champion seal, which will indicate to everyone that you've beaten the arena and grants you access to Bowerstone North. After leaving the arena, someone approaches you and tells you that Theresa wants to talk to you, and to meet her at the Grey House. Before doing anything else, I head back to the guild because I've received a lot of experience from all the fighting and I want to level up. I then check the table and pick up a quest to break a siege at Knothole Glade, and a second one to find a lost trader. I head to Knothole Glade first, and am met by bandits who say the town has their bandit leader jailed, and if he's not released, they'll attack the town.
By the tavern.
I enter the town and talk with the mayor, who says the captured bandit is up the hill, and that's where he's staying. He says I'll just have to deal with his bandit friends and to talk to the guard who will open the gate when I'm ready. The quest is pretty short, as all you have to do is take out the bandits as they're trying to make their way up the hill to free their friend. After stopping them, I head to find the lost trader, who is back near the Twin Blades encampment. It's in the same area where you had to collect all the bandit gear to enter the camp. His brother is by the entrance, and after fighting your way to one side of the zone, you have him follow you and lead him back to his brother, and you're done. Once completed, I receive treasure clue number 2. And then I decide to go meet Teresa, so I head towards the Grey House. There, Teresa says that Jack of Blades is the one who burned down Oakvale and cut her eyes out. She says he wasn't lying about your mother, and he's kept her prisoner in a place called Bargate Prison since the attack. She's failed to get inside, but the archaeologist knows of a passage. I need to meet him and find a way to get into the prison to rescue our mother. After she leaves, I decide to take a look around the area. It's an old abandoned house sitting on a hill with a few grave sites next to it. I enter the home and a grandfather clock rings and skeletons jump out of the ground. After beating them, the camera pans to a cellar on the side of the building. So I enter the cellar and find a scrawled parchment from the eldest of the Grey children, who is the rightful heir to the position of Bowerstone Mayor. They say they were murdered by the current Lady Grey and hope one day their words will be found out so that people know. I decide to go talk to Lady Grey and see if any of this comes up. The guard blocking Bowerstone North says I'm well known enough to go in, and I'm able to enter the area. I find Lady Grey and speak with her, and she says she's never married and is lonely. She knew someone who conquered the arena could conquer her and asked for a present from town. I try and see if I'm able to equip the note and hand it to her, but that doesn't work, so I just end up abandoning that idea and getting her a gift instead. I go back to the shop and see a black rose. The description says someone with a heart as dark as its petals would truly appreciate it, and I figure given the facts, that sounded like a pretty good gift. I also pick up a wedding ring because she is the mayor, and this area is super cool. She loves the gift and says she can't marry into poverty. A man must own his own house. Well, lucky me, I've got 2, because I bought a house in Oakville on my way back to Bowerstone. She's happy to hear I have a house, but wants me to do her a favor first. She says she lost a necklace and asked me to help her find it. She says ask around town because someone should know of its whereabouts. Talking to people, I find out that the necklace belonged to her sister and that it was last seen in Oakville, so I head there to look for it. In Oakville, I go into a memorial garden where 2 guys are whispering, and if you get close enough, they stop talking. So I end up having to sneak up on a ledge behind them and overhear their conversation. One says he hid the necklace in between 2 boats on the beach. So I go in between the 2 boats, I dig up the necklace, and then return back to Bowerstone. I return the necklace, and now she wants me to fight Thunder to see who wins her in marriage. It all makes sense now. Thunder knew I was going to take his lady, and that's why he was such a grouch. I head to Bowerstone Jail, as that's where Lady Grey said he would be, and he tells me to meet him at the executioner's block on the hill. He can't think of a better place to kill me. I make my way up to Headsman Hill, going through Windmill Hill first, fighting off bandits along the way. This is by far my favorite zone in the game so far. It's on a cliffside with a little farm and a house and a windmill, and it's even got a cool pond, so it's just a super nice little area in the game. I finally reach Headman's Hill and find Thunder, who has gathered a crowd to watch the fight. He attacks with a sword and shoots lightning in a circle around him. After beating him up a bit, he knocks us off a cliff and we start fighting again in a new area. Then he runs into a cave, and you have to beat him for a final time. Once he admits defeat, he says no one has ever beaten him before, and the lady is mine. I take his helmet as a trophy, and then I immediately teleport to Bowerstone and run around showing everyone so that they know what a freaking loser he is. But before heading back to Lady Grey, I stop off at my house and explain to my wife that I'm only doing this for political reasons. She doesn't understand at first, but finally agrees once I tell her we're playing the long con and I can do more good for Albion with the position of power. I then head back to meet Lady Grey in the garden and agree to marry her. She says if I so much as look at another woman, she'll have their head chopped off, and I believe her. So I send my real wife into hiding and pay the bandit who gave me the pass for a new identity. She starts a new job in Oakville under the guise as a
And
nanny.
if you so much as look at another woman before then, I shall have her pretty head chopped off.
The next quest that I take is the one that was dropped off by my sister. It's to rescue the archaeologist from the Bowerstone jail. Entering the area, I come to a bridge with a guard saying they grabbed the archaeologist and took him up the hill and that I need to rescue him. One of Jack's minions then appears and starts to attack. You fight your way through a couple of zones, the good-looking ones on the hill again, and this time they're werewolf-looking monsters that use two-handed blade-type weapons. You eventually come to a dock where the monsters are escorting the archaeologist onto a boat, and you have 5 minutes to stop them. I end up just rushing all the way down to the end of the zone, grouping everyone up and taking them out as one big group instead of doing multiple fights. After freeing the archaeologist, he thanks you, but says he would still be hiding in the cave if it weren't for you. He tells you to get to Bargate Prison, you have to go through Litchfield Graveyard. He then says he knows a few more good hiding places and runs off. I go back to the guild and level up my speed, physique, and battle charge and check the quest table again. There are 2 more quests, but they're for the same event. You can either help escort someone taking a criminal from the jail to the execution tree, or help the bandits free the criminal. I help the guards escort the prisoner through the same path that I've used for the last 2 quests up to Headsman Hill. When reaching the executioner block, the executioner does his thing and a crowd cheers. On the way, the guards talk about how last time it took a few days to clean up the mess. This quest leads you right to the entrance to Litchfield Graveyard, so even though we've done the same zone a few times, at least it ends where we needed to go, and we didn't just walk there without actually having anything to do. At the graveyard, a man and a woman are standing outside a locked gate. When spoken to, they said the gravekeeper won't open the gate, and he spends all his time sitting in his hut talking to his weird friend, and then they leave. There's also a demon door in that area, and when you speak with it, he says he'll only open for Nostro, the ancient guardian of the door. Approaching the gravekeeper's hut, you overhear the gravekeeper talking with someone about how he smashed open a crypt and found a whole set of armor that must be worth a fortune. He stashed it all over the graveyard except for the helmet, which he didn't have time to hide before the undead showed up. He said he's keeping the gates locked until he can sell the whole lot. They then hear you approaching, and the friend hurries off. When you talk to the gravekeeper asking about access to the path, he says the only person who could open the path has been dead for a few hundred years. But since you're on official guild business, he opens the gate and lets you inside. I fight my way through the area and come to his tomb and open it. He says my armor, my helmet, my sword, and my shield gather for me and the path I will yield. I look around the graveyard finding the pieces, which is pretty easy as they're all indicated by green dots on the minimap. You do have to fish for one item and dig for another one though, so it's best to make sure you have a spade with you, and a fishing pole can be found in the area if you don't have one. They are all in the graveyard aside from the helmet, which you find back at the gravekeeper's house. You can actually see it on a shelf behind him while the 2 of you are talking. Taking the items back to the crypt, he ends up yielding the way. Now when you approach the demon door, he lets you through since you helped the old one recover his armor. This leads you into the old graveyard path area. The undead in this area and the last one seem to respawn forever, so I take my time and gain as much experience as I can until I get bored and then I move on. At the end of the path, you come to a large ornate door that when you approach it, it lights up before opening. It leads you into the Circle of the Dead. In this area, there's a ring on the floor, and you have to beat enemies while you're on the platform. Doing this lights up one of the circles of the exterior of the ring, and once all lit, larger enemies spawn which you have to defeat to light the inner circles. Once they're all lit, a door to a crypt opens, and you can go inside. You complete that quest and start a new one to rescue Scarlet Robe. You find yourself in an underground chamber which resembles a sewer, as there's water falling into a big pool in the center of the room. Making your way upstairs, you enter into the next area, which is more underground tunnel. There I fought through more skeletons and come to a branching path. Before being able to select which way you're going to go, you get locked in the room as the doors get blocked with a barrier, and you have to take out the undead that spawn there. Choosing to go down the path that's not indicated by the quest marker ends in a room with a chest in it. Inside the chest, there's a resurrection vial. Though it seems the max of these that you can have at one time is 9, so I actually started selling them because I never ended up using them, and they sell for about $2.50 a piece. I then fought my way back through the tunnel and towards the quest marker, which leads you outside to a cliffside path. There you'll fight along the path until you come to a circular building. When you enter it, more barriers appear and you have to clear out the skeletons that spawn before being able to open the door and go inside. This leads you into another underground passage, but this time it's full of guards. These look like normal guards from the game, but instead of wearing blue, these are dressed in red. Fighting through the area leads you into the torture chamber. There you find your mother locked in a cell. At first, she thinks it's a trick by Jack of Blades that you're there.
Never mind.
She's pissed you're there, but tells you to open the cage.
Get this
I hit the lever next to the cage, and we fight our way back out the tunnel, leading outside. Once outside, you're immediately trapped by Jack of Blades. It happens in the same building where you had to bring down the barriers to get in. You're surrounded by his monsters, and he's floating above you both talking. He says the arena seal he gave you has been tracking your every movement. He knows your sister is alive, and has told you about the Sword of Aeons and your bloodline, and says now your mother is going to tell him where the key is. Then the screen fades to black. You wake up and are in a prison cell without any of your gear. The guards tell you don't even try any of your willpower in here, as none of it works. The man in the cell next to you says that they take the prisoners in the courtyard and make them race. Whoever wins goes to see the warden, but won't tell you what happens when you go see him because he says it's too cruel to even mention. Eventually, a guard comes and says it's time to go, and you better put on a good show because some of them have bet money on you. He says if you lose, you'll get a round in the torture chamber. You're then taken to the courtyard and have to race against a few other prisoners. The path is delineated by guards standing next to the waypoints and pointing which way you have to go. They make you run up the stairs and around the top of the complex. I assumed the race would end where it started, and I end up making a wrong turn and losing the race. A cutscene plays about how you get tortured and spend an entire year in the prison. Then you're placed back in the cell and wait for the guard to come back again and take you out for race day. The second time I stuck to the correct path and won the race. I'm then taken to the warden's office where he says he's going to conduct a poetry reading and I have to stay very quiet. He turns his back to you and starts reading a poem he has written off of the wall. There's a timer indicating how long you have and a meter that goes up as you walk, indicating you're making too much noise. You have to sneak over to his bulletin board, get a code, and then come back to a table on the other side of the room with 3 books that require the code. Once you've gotten the code off the bulletin board, it'll open one of the books. The first book I open contains a key that I take, and then he tells me to return to my cell. The guards take you back to your cell and say since the warden lost his key, I'll just be in the cell and the torture chamber will be delayed. Once they leave, I open the cell and grab a stick from a barrel in the cell across from me. I then open all the cells and let everyone in the room out, and we head out into the courtyard. I try fighting the guards, but it's useless without any gear, so I run past them and find my mother, who says I need to get my gear first before letting her out. I go back to the courtyard, and all the other prisoners have died. I keep running around and dodging the guards until I find my equipment. I take them out and then let my mother out of prison. We make our way through the underground path and back through the cliffside, then underground again. She's giving me real traitor vibes as she keeps repeating the same voice line over and over. This time, when you're going back through the tunnel portion that looks like a sewer, you approach the water and it starts to bubble. Tentacles burst out and slam down, allowing you to attack them. Once you've taken out the 4 tentacles, the monster's head emerges and shoots at you. You repeat the same process a couple of times until the Kraken dies, and then the path is open, allowing you to leave. Once outside, Scarlet Robe tells you how Jack now knows where the key to get the sword is. She says the key is located in a place called Hook Coast, and though he knows the location, he does not know that it will only reveal itself to a member of your bloodline. She's worried Jack will use Teresa to get it, but hopes that we can beat him there first. She then tells you to investigate a portal in Darkwood, as it's the only way to get to Hook Coast. I head back to the guild, level up my health and multi-strike to 4, which ends up maxing it out, and then I take a quest to free kidnapped Bowerstone townsfolk from a bandit gang. I head south from Bowerstone, and am told by a lady that the bandits ran into Greatwood. Entering the zone, you see the bandit gang, and they split up into two different zones. The first is Fisher Creek, and the second being Greatwood Lake. I head to Fisher Creek first, and free the hostage on the dock, and then head to Greatwood Lake. There is a bandit down a path that leads up a hill. The first time I approached him, he ended up killing the hostage once I got too close, so I had to reload and do the entire quest over again. The second time I got to this point, I attacked from long range with an aimed arrow shot, and he ended up coming down the path, allowing me to attack him. Once I completed the quest, it gave me clue number 1. I ended up going back to the first chest I saw that required 5 silver keys and opening it and got an elixir of life, which permanently increases your health pool. I haven't prioritized keys or demon doors, but I'm sure there's good rewards in them and will pay much more attention to those during my Anniversary Edition playthrough, as I still want some things to be new when I play through it. Entering the ancient Cullis Gate zone in Darkwood starts the quest Gateway to Hook Coast. I have to activate the Cullis Gate by sating its desire for undead souls. After defeating a bunch of skeletons in the area, I'm teleported to somewhere covered in ice and enter a cave. I see a sword that hungers for souls, and once I take it, I return home, murder my father, and become the Lich King in command of the undead. Not really. It ends up being a town along the coast that's covered in ice. I check the shops and find a Master Greatsword which has 3 augment slots. I move to the quest marker but can't continue as there's another one of the magical barriers in the way. Your mother communicates with you saying the barrier wasn't there before and explains what she's found in the guild and requests you to meet her back in Maze's quarters. Going back to the guild, you hear your mother screaming. Arriving in Maze's quarters, you see her bound and then teleported out by some of Jack's monsters. Before leaving, she tells you to look at the book, so it's reading rainbow time. The book's name I cannot pronounce, but you're unable to read it anyways because the guild never taught you how to read. So you have to take it to the guildmaster to decipher it. He tells you it should open the barrier and that he'll read from it when you're back at the location. He tells you there is a quest card, but if you take it, it will forsake any of your other tasks as it's too important. I agree and then head back to Hook Coast. Arriving, you see that the town is under attack by what looks like banshees. You fight your way back to the barrier and the guildmaster opens it with his literacy ability. With the barrier down, you can now enter the area and upon doing so, see Maze who has Teresa bound by magic. He tries to play it off, but your sister says he's working for Jack. Then Jack shows up and holds you with magic as well. He tells Maze to finish the ritual, which he does, and Jack gets the septimal key. He instructs Maze to take us both to the chamber. At this point, your sister is able to use her magic to free you before freeing herself and teleporting away.
You can't win, boy. The world belongs to Jack now.
As you fight Maze, he ends up teleporting around the map. It's more of an annoyance than anything, because at one point, he went in a building and I had to break the door down and climb up a tower and then go back down only to find him at the bottom. While chasing him around Hook Coast, you're attacked by banshees. He uses Fire Blast and electricity to attack you and puts shields on himself for defense. The fight isn't too hard as Multi-Strike is quite clearly a broken ability that just allows you to get 5 hits in one single blow. After defeating him, he says he joined because he didn't think anyone was going to be strong enough to stop Jack, but maybe you are. He says Jack plans to use the key to activate the focus sites all over Albion. Then he'll be able to take control of the sword, and it'll be too late to stop him. The guildmaster then requests you come back to the guild, and after teleporting there, you have to go through the Cullis Gate. I go through the gate and wind up in Witchwood where I meet Briar Rose, who says that Jack has to be stopped. She says it's the giant rocks that Jack is activating and tells you which way to go. Here you fight your way to the site, and when you get there, Jack has already activated the site. He says Maze wouldn't have made it through the day anyways because he outlived his usefulness, and then teleports away. Briar Rose tells you the portal is still open, and you need to go after him, and that she'll stay behind and help defeat the monsters. The portal takes you to Greatwood Lake area. Once again, you fight your way to the site where you meet Jack, who's already activated. He tells you you'll never catch him and teleports away again. Following him again, you find yourself now in the Hob Cave. There you see Thunder, who says you two have unfinished business, but now's not the time. You once again arrive too late, and Jack teleports away. Thunder says for you to follow him, but he'll be staying behind because he needs to find a place to rest. He tells you Jack must be heading for Headsman Hill, as it's the last of the sites.
I'm exhausted.
At this point, I realize you don't actually have to fight anything, and basically just run by all the enemies until I get to Jack. They should have added in those barriers where you have to defeat enemies before being able to move on, because just running past everything really detracts from the big build-up they were going for. Making it to the last site, you see he's already activated it also. This time he has your mother with him. He says he hopes she still has some blood left in those old veins, and asks if you're ready to see the guild burn, and then teleports away once more. Following him through the last portal puts you on a quest. Try to stop Jack of Blades. You enter the guild and see it set ablaze, and the guildmaster is hurt. He says Jack has power they've never seen, and if your mother or sister die, there's no helping anyone. You make your way to the guild caves, which has a bow conveniently located on the bridge before entering the Chamber of Fate. Upon entering, you see your sister trapped once again. He kills your mother, and her essence goes into the sword. He then picks up the Sword of Aeons, and says you're next, and then he'll make the world burn. The fight starts with Jack in a protective bubble, and you have to defeat the monsters he summons to break it. After that, you fight him with a sword. He shoots waves of lightning or white balls of energy at you. You have to dodge them and get hits in where you can. After taking some damage, he jumps up into the air and attacks from range with the sword. At this point, the only way you can hit him is from range, and that's why I'm assuming there was a conveniently placed bow outside. While airborne, he summons 4 pillars around the circular room that you have to hide behind when he uses the sword to summon a bright light that deals massive damage. All the while, there are monsters attacking you that try to force you out of the pillar's protection. I found the best thing to do is roll around the room, shooting with a bow, and when needed, use the pillars to hide from the light. Whenever the monsters would come close, I would use force push to knock them back and keep them from knocking me out of cover. After he's defeated, your sister is freed from her bonds. His soul dissipates into some type of vortex, and she says now you have to make the choice she spoke of so long ago.
And now comes the choice I spoke of so long ago.
You can either strike her down and become as powerful as Jack dreamt of being, or throw the sword into the vortex that had opened up. I throw the sword into the vortex, and she says they are both now lost forever. She says she needs to find where she now belongs, because she knows this isn't it, and then she just dips out. Your character looks at her leave, and the final cutscene plays. It talks about how Albion is free from darkness and peace has began, and then the credits roll. Once they end, you complete the Battle Jack of Blades quest and get Jack's mask as a trophy. To wrap this one up before jumping into the Anniversary Edition, I head back to the guild and put in my resignation, because I won't be heroing anymore in this version of Albion. I then head back to Oakvale to rescue my real wife from witness protection before taking her back to Bowerstone to our real house and filing for divorce from Lady Grey. Once the divorce is finalized, which is immediately because I made it all up, I head upstairs, hop in bed for some much needed sleep. In the morning, I make my way out to the porch and sip my coffee while watching the hustle and bustle of Bowerstone. And that, ladies and gentlemen, ends this hero's Fable. All I gotta say, Fable has actually held up pretty well. Despite the fact that the combat system can sometimes feel clunky and the targeting system needs work, its classic hero's journey story really shines because of the decisions it allows you to make. It gives you the freedom to find a playstyle that suits your character, not just in a typical skill build, but also in a moral sense. This, coupled with an absolutely awesome fantasy art style, makes it a pretty memorable game, and I think that's the reason it's remembered so fondly. In all, I spent 11 hours and 2 minutes making my way through Albion. And though I mostly just completed the main storyline, and any side quests I come across, there was a lot of content I ignored as well, such as the Fight Club, tavern games, silver key chests, demon doors, and temples. I wanted to have some fresh experiences on the Anniversary Edition as well. If you happen to have an original Xbox and a copy of Fable, it definitely deserves another playthrough. Well everyone, that's going to do it for this one. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if so, please consider leaving a like and subscribing so you can be notified of new videos when they release. I truly appreciate everyone who takes the time to watch these longer form videos, as they do take quite a bit of time to make. Thanks again, I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next one.